those in green expect their team to do the business and take another step towards defending their title. The last team to win back-to-back AFC Champions League titles were from Saudi Arabia. That was Al Ittihad all the way back in 2004 and then 2005. And Al Ahli well placed to make it through the league stage at least. The official anthem of the AFC Champions League Elite. Maybe doesn't quite have the kudos of the European version as yet, but give it time. There is Joselu. 6'4" striker is one to keep an eye on tonight as we check out the team news. A very strong 11 selected by Matthias Geisler. Riyad Mahrez, who's scored in both Champions League Elite games so far. Enzo Mio, who got a double to lead the fight back against Nassaf. Ivan Toney, and new Brazilian signing Mateus Gonçalves, who got his first goal for the club in that 2-2 draw with Al Duhail. Roger Ibanez is the only big name absentee. Majrashi and Hamed, the only two local-born players in that 11. And expect Firas Albarikin to feature off the bench. Yasser Brahimi is the captain of Gharafa, just waiting for his opposite number, Edouard Mendy. And the coin for the toss, choice of kickoff, choice of ends, comes in its very own specially approved box. Referee is one of the most experienced in Asia. Ma Ning from the People's Republic of China. Their matches between clubs from Saudi and Qatar can get a bit spicy at times. A pretty good 11 for Al Gharafa as well, featuring the Korean Republic international Jang Hyun-soo, the Tunisian Fajani Sassi, who's just helped his nation qualify for the World Cup. The 68 times capped Algerian Yasser Brahimi is the captain. He scored both goals in that win against Al Shorta. And striker Joselu, who won the UEFA Champions League with Real Madrid a couple of years back. And Everton defender Mason Holgate among the substitutes. This is the usual pre-game ritual for the players of Al Ahli. They go over to their supporters on the far side of the ground and join in with the club anthem. Little things like that that build club culture, build a sense of togetherness. One of the reasons why they were able to win the Champions League last season, defeating Kawasaki Frontale, of course, in the final. Ivan Toney is the top scorer domestically for Al Ahli with 3. And it has been a bit of a struggle at the start of the Saudi Pro League campaign. They haven't won the domestic title since 2015-16. I'm sure that is one of their targets this season, along with the retention of this particular trophy. So off we go in Jeddah. It is Gharafa in the yellow and blue. Ahli in the predominantly all whites, kicking from right to left on your screen in the first half. Ahli looking to become, as I say, the first team since Al Ittihad 20 years ago to retain the title. There's their coach, Matthias Geisler, the 37-year-old German, who spent 2 years with Red Bull Salzburg in Austria before switching to the Gulf and ending that long wait for continental success for the Saudi Giants. They are looking to spring the first attack. Enzo Mio going to steal one in behind for the run of Ivan Toney. Frenchman has settled fairly quickly into that number 10 role. And he is replacing the departed Gabri Vega in the playmaking position. There's Pedro Martins, the 55-year-old Portuguese coach of Gharafa, who led them to the Emir of Qatar Cup success last season. That's after winning 3 Greek Super League titles with Olympiacos. It's a big chance already. Well, Kessie stealing forwards. Getting on the end of that ball, not quite able to convert. As Gharafa counter and a shot from long range from Joselu. Brings a dive for the cameras, I guess you could call it, from Edouard Mendy. Had all the angles covered. He is the Al Ahli captain. 50 caps now for his native Senegal. Set a Saudi Pro League record for clean sheets domestically last season. His distribution wasn't the best though on that particular occasion. The ball is with Fabrizio Diaz. Now for Aaron Gunnarsson. Brahimi on the turn. Gunnarsson, the veteran Icelandic midfielder, 36 years of age now. Many long years with his nation's national team as they shocked the world in qualifying for major tournaments. Rather loose, sassy, but he's got away with that. Chance for Saifuddin Fadlala to link up with Yassin Brahimi. Diaz had continued his run. Defended by Mira Demirel. It was probably the man at fault for one of the goals conceded against FC Nassaf on opening night, where Ahli had a dreadful first half, managed to recover, ultimately to win 4-2. So it's Valentin Atangana, signed from Reims in France for $29 million. Again long for Ivan Toney. Finding highest was Ryan Hamad, but the ball has dropped here nicely for Yassin Brahimi. Gharafa with a chance now the right-hand side. Gianni not quite able to make anything of it. And sorted out by Kessie. It's 2 or 3 balls in the opening stages that gone over the top as they seek to try and find Ivan Toney. Not quite found their range as yet. Got Chalmers. The better of Aljani. Tangana. Ultimately fouled by Sassi. Cleverly protecting the ball and drawing the contact from the Tunisian. It's Fajani Sassi, I should say. Preparing to go to his third World Cup finals next year in North America. Riyad Mahrez on set-piece duty. Hit by quite some margin. Again, I guess you could call it a little bit of a loose start from Ahli. Gianni driven back and ultimately out of play. Which draws a little round of applause from Matthias Geisler. No way through for Tangana. Seydou Sano. Diaz. And now Brahimi. Aljani. A little kick there from Matteo Dams, which he is going to go over and apologise for. Just catching back leg of Aljani. Belgian defenders now going to be on his heels because Aljani's going to cross one in. They provide a wonderful backdrop, don't they? Oh, that's a lovely back heel. Here's Yassin Brahimi trying to snake his way through. He was quite brilliantly found by the footwork of Fajani Sassi. Just couldn't get the shot away. And a real scare for the Asian champions. Brilliant awareness from the Tunisian. Algerian just wanted one touch too many. Such a quality player. He born in Paris and played for the French junior teams, but ultimately opted to play for Algeria, the nation of his heritage. He's in great form domestically, as well as those 2 goals against Al Shorta, 4 goals and 6 assists in 8 matches in the Qatar Stars League so far this season. Demiral. It's deflected off the boot of Brahimi. Joselu not even bothering to turn and run for that one. Lala coming across, making sure that Mahrez couldn't skip past him. Dams. Touched by Gonçalves. Ento Mio. Punch under no real pressure from Khalifa and Jai. The Gharafa goal. Won back well by Mazraoui. There's a tangle of legs there, and both players have come off pretty sore at the end of it, and Ahli are saying we should have a penalty for this. From Kessie darting into the box, the challenge from Saifuddin Fadlallah. There's the contact here from Fadlallah. Really just a little kick on the shin. Was it the twisting action of Kessie that caused him to fall awkwardly? All in the hands of the referee, Marning. And VAR officials, of course. First running repairs required for Messrs. Kessie and Fadlallah. Fabrizio Diaz, Fadlallah. My apologies to him. Both players went down as though they've been hit by the sniper. Both players still off the field at the moment. On we go. This is Ryan Hamad. Two Saudi-born players in the Ahli starting 11 tonight. There's a fair few more on the bench. Mio, Rashi, Mahrez, ghosting away from Sassi. He's trying to. Sassi just leaning into him a bit too much. Mahrez, who now has 11 AFC Champions League Elite goals for Ahli. He's the third highest scorer of all time for the club in this competition, closing in on Victor Chamois, who's 14. Al-Soma still way out in front with 24. 2 from 2 so far this season. I wonder if he's going to try and take this one on. Fair way out, within his capabilities, and he drills it on target. Required the save from Khalifa and Jai. Comfortable height for the goalkeeper. Ahli's first shot on target of the evening. Produced a corner which may yet lead to something. Mahrez's ball headed away from goal rather than towards it. Demiral. Mahrez again. Just got away from Atangana. A little glance at the referee. You'd hope, more than expectation, that he would point to the spot. that moment again. I don't think there's any contact from Diaz on Kessie. If anything, Kessie just treads on his opponent. That was the definitive angle. This is Jang Hyun-soo. Played in the Asian Cup final for the Korean Republic back in 2015 when they lost to Australia in extra time. Oh, that's a lovely ball by Gonçalves. Here's Riyad Mahrez. And Khalifa Ndiaye made himself big. Good save by the goalkeeper. Well, Ahli starting to find a bit of rhythm. Gonçalves got the head up early. It's a lovely release. Mahrez was on target, but couldn't get it past the goalkeeper. So that's 2 points to Ndiaye in their personal battle. Mahrez with the corner. Little tangle of legs there outside the penalty area. Meantime, Mateusz Gonçalves. It was Aaron Gunnarsson and Ali Mazraoui in the latest tangle. Ndiaye will put the ball out so they can get some treatment. Gunnarsson in particular. Oh, yeah, that looks sore. Certainly came off second best. They've probably been the game's outstanding performer so far. Gunnarsson back to his feet rather gingerly. Here's how it happened. Again, purely accidental, really. Prior to that, Riyad Mahrez has tested Khalifa Ndiaye on a couple of occasions. This was certainly the better of the two opportunities. Big outstretched right leg doing the job for Gharafa. He's a big guy, is Khalifa Ndiaye, 6 feet 8 inches tall. Born in Senegal, but has Qatari citizenship. Pedro Martin's side made a pretty good start to the game tonight, but just get the sense that Ahli has started to warm up. Gunnarsson to his feet. 107 caps for Iceland. Of course, long spell in the UK for both Coventry City and especially with Cardiff City. He won the Football League Championship in season 12-13. Also watch out for his long throws if Gharafa get such an opportunity. Ghana. Nice little spin by Mazraoui. He was on the overlap and darting into the box, and he was well shackled by Fadlala. Very quick, the left fullback. Mazraoui is no slouch either, so that was a good foot race. Maybe just the extra physical presence. young Qatari left-back doing the job. Touched by Mio. Chavez, Atangana. Yeah, it's just too straight, too long. Haven't yet really been able to find Ivan Toney. Give him the sort of service that he really likes. Sending the ball long, comfortable for Sadusano. Quickly back on the attack. It's surely a foul by Valentin Atangana on Fabrizio Diaz. Good use of the body from Diaz. Of the Uruguayan junior side that won the 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Argentina. He's actually captain of that team as well. Matteo Dams with that particular battle with Aljani. Brahimi stopped in his tracks by Mio. Straight at Ayoub Aloui. The cross into the box, can't find Sassi. Midway point of the first half. Riyad Mahrez with the best two opportunities so far. Gunnarsson. Turned back by Sassi. Bit of possession stuff for Al Gharafa, who lie third in the Qatar Stars League at the moment. Still very early stages, of course, in the various leagues around Asia. Here goes Yassir Brahimi. Getting his team a corner off Mazraoui. Just making sure he hurdled out of the way to have that clean contact and give his team a corner, which is their first of the contest. Brahimi's delivery. Off the head of Ivan Toney, I think, but then clearly subsequently off an Al Gharafa player. I don't think Pedro Martins is particularly impressed with the fact that the throw-in has gone against his side. Or that Matteo Dams is trying to steal a few metres. Off the chest of Toney. That's an ambitious ball. He's going to have to go some to try and get there and head off another Al Ahli attack. Sano with the long ball forwards. Joselu has not really been in the game so far for Gharafa. Certainly got the pedigree if they can find him. Particularly in this competition, 7 goals in 11 matches in the AFC Champions League Elite for the big Spaniard. 3 and 2 so far this season. Gonçalves with ball across the top of the penalty area. Tony linking up with Mahrez. Nice little readjustment by Gonçalves, but credit to Fadlala, who's stuck to the task. Time play's going to have to stop because we've got an injury for Fabrizio Diaz. It looks as though it might be a serious one. He just popped his shoulder out. That's my reading of the situation. Chance for Ivan Toney, Enzo Mio to discuss things. The fact that they haven't really been able to give him any sort of service. They get involved in the build-up play here. There's that little movement there from Toney, which caused the injury for Diaz. Tug on the arm that's perhaps just popped the shoulder out of its socket. Now 20 games unbeaten in this competition. Ahli. Defeat was against Esteghlal back in 2021, the last time they lost at home in this competition. It was in 2019 and they were beaten 4-2 by fellow Saudi Pro League club Al Hilal in the round of 16. Since then they've enjoyed their nights in Asia, the Al Ahli fans. Fabrizio Diaz is enjoying his at this particular moment. It is again. It's just in that act of fending off Diaz that something's maybe just gone pop in that shoulder. Here's Jaisler, one of the youngest coaches in the Saudi Pro League. Expectations always high at a club the size of Al Ahli. He's bought himself a bit of time, of course, with winning the Champions League Elite last year, but I think the supporters are particularly pleased with their start to the season. They're in 8th spot domestically. Diaz still receiving ascension. Jai has been called upon on a couple of occasions. This is a fairly routine stop. Mahrez's free kick a fair way out. See, the ball swirled a little bit, so he wasn't about to take a risk and try and grab it. The save that he made with his feet a few minutes after that was a pretty good one. Well, that's a sad sight. After a delay of about 3 or 4 minutes, Fabrizio Diaz departs the scene on a stretcher. Not sure he'll be coming back. So Mason Holgate gets the call. Former Everton defender. Made the move in June of this year on a 2-year deal. After 10 years with the Merseyside club in England. He spent a chunk of that decade out on loan. Sassy has gone down. Gharafa a little bit unhappy they didn't get the whistle themselves there. Oh, chance for Ahli. The ball just flashed across the face of goal. And Chavez will retrieve it. And links up with Dams. Chavez's cross, oh, it's off the crossbar and in! It's a sensational finish from Enzo Mio, who adds to the 2 goals that he scored against FC Nasser with a quite spectacular opener here against Gharafa, who were perhaps just a little bit unsettled by the departure of Fabrizio Diaz and lost a bit of concentration. But that is taking nothing away from that finish. Enzo Mio starting to really establish himself as a firm favourite at Ahli. And this is one of the reasons why. It's perfect technique. A little bit of help off the crossbar, and nothing Njaya could do. Ahli hit the front. Gharafa still complaining that they believe there was a foul in the build-up to that goal. And it was a fair way back, but we shall see what happens. Goal is confirmed. Joselu continue the process, and he's going to get himself booked if he's not careful. Marning is not going to stand for any messing about. Tensions inflamed in Jeddah. And now Gharafa have it all to do. And they've lost one of their main midfielders as well. They've got the ball back here though. Aljani. The ball down the line. On Mason Holgate. Fresh to the game, of course. Nobody there from Gunnarsson's pass. Nodded back by Sassy. Joselu might have been coming from an offside position here. As Rashi hooks it high up into the night sky. And then out it goes off the boot of Saifuddin Fadlala. And now Fajani Sassy has got a problem. Business as usual, they will feel. A little shake of the head from Pedro Martins. Perhaps feeling his side is a little bit hard done by. They were adamant there was a foul on Sassy in the build-up. Control by Frank Kessie. Ahli's captain, Riyad Mahrez. He'll make up a full head of steam. There are options left. Here's one of them, Enzo Mio. Mahrez again. Atangana. Squared up for Dams. Gonçalves. And then Dams is chopped down. Ahmed Al-Jade. It's a foul. Part of the Qatari squad that's recently qualified for the World Cup finals. 15 times capped for his country. He's given his team a bit of a problem here. When Riyad Mahrez is about to take the set piece. She's angled far too close to the goalkeeper. Thumped upfield by Seydou Sano. It's a good recovery from Ali Mazraoui. Completely lost his footing there for a moment. Bit of space for Mahrez. Kessie helps it on towards Gonçalves. Away from the defender. Gonçalves hacked it up. It's 2-0 from Kessie with a header. And again, Matheus Gonçalves, the architect. 2 assists for the Brazilian. And again, nothing Ndiaye could do. And the scoreline now has a much more comfortable look about it for the Asian champions. Well, Gonçalves just skipped away from Mason Holgate as if he wasn't there. And the cross was perfect, and Kessie did the rest. Punch in the air for their coach, and the congratulations rightly go to Matheus Gonçalves. From Kessie, who was one of many Ahli heroes in the final. He scored against Kawasaki Frontale. That his first goal in the competition since then. Big problem now for Gharafa. And Mio has got the better of 2 defenders when really he didn't have much right to do so. Claiming he was fouled in his attempts to go for the ball a 3rd time. And you do just wonder how much of a disruption that injury to Fabrizio Diaz was for Gharafa. Been hit by the double whammy. 2 goals in 6 minutes. It's not going to be much use for Holgate. And you'd probably say got beaten a little bit too easily by Gonçalves. The Brazilian winger really endearing himself to the home fans with 2 assists tonight. Here's Atangana driving through midfield. committing the foul on Holgate. No way through for Brahimi. Kessie. Danger looming here again for Gharafa. Mahrez. Kessie! 3-0. Beautiful flowing football from the champions of Asia. And from Kessie is having a first half to remember. Another late run from midfield, found this time by Riyad Mahrez. And it's all going horribly, horribly wrong for Gharafa. Brahimi caught on the ball. There is a little hint of offside. I don't think Mahrez had gone too early. Drew the defender and played in front Kessie. And it was a surefire finish from the Ahli captain. Player who's played at the very highest levels of the game, winning the Serie A title with AC Milan, La Liga with Barcelona. Last season, of course, the AFC Champions League Elite title as well. Make that 3 goals in 9 minutes. And Gharafa are on the canvas. Looks very much as though that's a long wait for a win over a team from the Saudi Pro League, which stretches all the way back to that last win, that only win by a Qatari club against Ahli in Jeddah in 2010. It's going to go on a bit longer. Gunnarsson. Lala's lost out. You just look at the body language now of the Gharafa players. Literally, but figuratively at least, it looks as though their heads have really dropped. Pedro Martins wanting to celebrate what is his 100th game in charge of Gharafa in all competitions. The Qataris don't really have a great record in this competition. It's their 13th Champions League Elite campaign. They've only been in the knockout stages twice. In 2010, their best to the quarter-finals. Get a free kick here, though. A yellow card to Demiral. He slid in way too early here. Demiral. Clearly caught Ayub Alawi. Well, Mendy's not had an awful lot to do so far. One early scare when this man, Yassin Brahimi, was found by Fajani Sassi. Really adjust the feet quickly enough. See what he could do with this free kick. Into the first of 8 first half-minute stoppage minutes. And then Lengthy delay, of course, for that injury to Fabrizio Diaz. Clumsy from Sassi. His hands all over Valentin Atangana. The same two players contesting the ball at the same outcome. Quickly taken free kick. He's going to bring them back for a drop ball. Atangana has been just a little bit too good for the most part for Sassi in their own personal battle. Remember, Josselin having a single opportunity, very few touches of the ball. And you've got to play a lead in the line with his resume. I haven't mentioned his 17 caps for Spain either. To find him as often as possible. Forward by Sano. Dams. Chavez. Biting challenge. Holgate. Straight to Franchesi, flicked by Tony. Again, the Gharafa players are incensed that the referee turned away and didn't blow the whistle in their favour. Ayoub Al-Oui very vocal in his protests. It's a lovely readjustment by Dams. So away goes Mateus Gonçalves again, looking for a hat-trick of assists. Mazraoui really catch hold of it. Brahimi sorted out for Gharafa. He looked to find Josselin. Another injury for the visitors to contend with. He's had a frustrating first half, the big Spaniard. Ivan Toney is down as well. That's the problem for Josselin. Fell awkwardly on his own leg. Time. The last action in the Gharafa goalmouth ended with that mishit shot from Ali Mazraoui. And Hamad also down for Ahli. There's more than a hint of concern Ahli about their main striker. There is a booking. More than that, a red card for a member of the Al Gharafa coaching staff for letting referee Ma Ning know exactly what was on his mind. He'll have to watch the rest of the game from the stands. Gharafa would love just one goal to take into half-time, give them a bit of renewed hope. Chancelou is back with us. Main creative talents, the likes of Sassi and Brahimi. Aljani have not really flourished as yet. Does blow in favour of Al Gharafa. This is Fadlala, Gunnarsson, Hyun-Soo, and then Gunnarsson again. Driving the ball cross fields accurately too for Aljani. Through Holgates. Fadlala, Brahimi. Trapped every step of the way by Ali Mazraoui, and that is the outcome, which has all too often been the case in the first half for Al Gharafa. Created very little, just that early opportunity for Yassin Brahimi. Do have some attacking talents on the bench, not least Florinel Koeman, the Romanian winger. Whether Pedro Martins feels it's worth the gamble at 3-0 down. He puts his cue in the rack and focuses on Al Gharafa's next game, which strangely enough is also against Al Ahli, but Al Ahli of Qatar rather than the Saudi version. That's this Saturday in the domestic league. Half-time at the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium, and it's all gone the way of Al Ahli in the first half. That injury to Fabrizio Diaz may be ruining the concentration of Al Gharafa. It was pretty even up until then, but Enzo Mio with the first, and then a double for Frank Kessie. All three goals coming in the space of 9 first-half minutes. And the champions of Asia are halfway to another 3 points. At the break, Al Ahli 3, Al Gharafa 0.
world's best airline for a record 9th time, flying high as the champions of the sky. And this year, we've embodied best airline in the news, world's best business class, best business class lounge. And yes, still a Skytrax 5-star airline. That's a lot of bests, but none of it happens without the best passengers. Thank you for flying with us and for voting for us. We go further because of you.
Everyone's crazy about football. But boxing, that's a never-ending game of seconds. One wrong move, game over. Tennis, a marathon with a racket. When it goes wrong, you become the only worst enemy.
Well, Gharafa out nice and early, eager to make amends, or perhaps they just want to get the night over with. Who knows? It's been a pretty difficult first half for the team from Qatar. Referee Ma Ning giving them the hard stare, Ahli, because they're a little bit late to re-emerge for the second half. They've got a pretty comfortable lead to defend. A change at the break. Mohamed Muntari is going to replace Aron Gunnarsson for Gharafa. Big 6'4" striker, Mohamed Muntari. Born in Kumasi in Ghana, but naturalised a long time ago now. And winner of 67 caps for the Qatar national team. He scored their first and so far only World Cup finals goal against Senegal back in 2022. But he and the rest of the Gharafa team are going to have quite the second half if they're going to turn this one around. And while Enzo Mio and Franck Kessie in particular will get the headlines for their goals, it must also be noted the excellent wing play of Matheus Gonçalves in the first half. He set up 2 of those 3 goals, Riyad Mahrez the other. The arrival from Flamengo in Brazil, really starting to settle in Jeddah. Confirmation of that change then for Gharafa. We've also had a member of their coaching staff sent to the stands, remember. Ma Ning getting involved again, this time inadvertently. And the rule these days, of course, is that play must restart with a drop ball if that happens. You cannot help thinking that that injury to Fabrizio Diaz was a key turning point in this match. Gharafa just seemed to lose a bit of concentration, a bit of shape. There is Gonçalves. It's offside anyway. Just went a little bit too early. Otherwise, he's been very good, the young Brazilian winger. Gharafa looking to improve on a pretty ordinary record that Qatari clubs have got in the AFC Champions League Elite, certainly in terms of winning the trophy anyway. Maybe Al Sadd have managed to do that, which they've done on 2 previous occasions. As for Saudi Arabia, well, their clubs have won 7 such titles. Both nations, of course, coming off the back of the October international window when both their national teams qualified for the World Cup finals. No doubt that the money being invested in the Saudi Pro League is helping their clubs compete in this particular competition. Off the chest of Joselu. Wide it goes for Faldala. Brahimi couldn't quite get his head on the end of it. Off the chest of Sassi. We would expect a response from Pedro Martin's team. The 3 goals coming in a 9-minute spell towards the end of that first half. Points may be beyond them, but want to put in a much improved showing in the second half. Here come Al Ahli though, Majrashi. Jai preventing the corner. Faldala. Brahimi. Gets the whistle. Pretty frank exchange between referee and the Gharafa captain. Born, no doubt, after frustration at the way things went in the first half. Away by Montari, but he's won it back. Illegally so, though. Use of the arm. Piece of play here. Really, Gharafa's night in a nutshell. He wins the ball back. Gets pinged for handball. Majrashi. Straight at Sassi. Chance here, potentially. Joselu. That's the first real sight of goal that he's had. Brahimi perhaps a little frustrated that he didn't try and play him in. And strikers have been out of games for so long, as Joselu has been tonight. You can understand why he went for goal. Mio. Majrashi. Touched by Tony. Wide left is Matteo Dams. Chavez calling for it. Kessie looking for but not finding Tony. Foul on Sado. Nicknamed Al-Fuhut, which translates to the cheetahs. It's the animal, by the way. Nothing to do with their spirit of fair play. Atangana. Mahrez. Straight at the goalkeeper. The yellow and blue strip, by the way, is because their original owners had a real love of Brazil. So that's homage to Seleção. It's green everywhere at the moment. Green and white in terms of the players. Very much the national colour of Saudi Arabia. Brahimi. The switch for Saifuddin Fadlala. Quite the execution. Leo then fouled. Qatari opposition up next again for Ahli in this competition. They will face Al Sadd in a few weeks' time. Montari, Brahimi. Get around Tangana. Not as easy as it sounds, but he's managed to do that. Couldn't find the cross to match. He's a very good player. Yasser Brahimi, coming towards the end of his career now, probably at the age of 35. Remember him scoring at the 2014 World Cup against the Korean Republic for Algeria. Mason Holgate. First half substitute for the injured Fabrizio Diaz. Something that really disrupted Gharafa. Mahrez. Nicely threaded through. Quickly the way forward again, but that was a slip from Mio rather than a foul by Ahli. Instead, here comes Al-Jani for Gharafa. Brahimi. Nice little spin by the Algerian. He's in behind. Demiral sees it out safely. Well, it's baby steps for Gharafa, but already much more of an attacking threat. As Sano lifts the ball into the box, it flicks off the head of Ryan Hammett. Mendy can launch it long for Ivan Toney. He has three defenders around him. Still finds a teammate, Gonçalves. Mio makes a little dart towards the near post. Here's Frank Kessie on a hat-trick. And couldn't quite readjust the feet. Well, for a moment, the back page headline was there to be written for Frank Kessie. Beautifully found by Gonçalves again, but the first touch wasn't great. From then on, it was a mixture of hand and heel. The danger, I guess, for Gharafa. They're going to have to push some numbers forward to try and give themselves a little sniff at a result, and that is going to leave some gaps further back. Sano, Brahimi, Fadlala, Brahimi again. Get good connection on the cross. And Sano with the foul. Which has left Enzo Mio a little sore. A naughty one that from Seydou Sano. Knew what he was doing. Enzo Mio really settling into life in Saudi Arabia after that €35 million move from Stuttgart in August. With whom he won the German Cup last season, of course, scoring twice in the final against Arminia Bielefeld. You do wonder whether we're at the point, or almost at the point, where with that three-goal cushion, Matthias Geisler might look to make some changes off the bench. Got a game on Thursday, by the way, domestically against Al Najma, which is a match away from home in the Saudi Pro League. And they play Al Batin in the King's Cup. Kessie. Quite been Ivan Toney's night so far. It's a good steal from Ali Mazraoui. Gonçalves, lovely readjustment. Mateusz Gonçalves had all the sting taken out of it. Well defended in the end by Ayoub Alaoui. Sassi. Josselou. Jani. Brahimi. Montari. Brahimi just showing too much of it to Mazraoui. Who'll join in with this attack. Mahrez in possession. Rashi again. That Saudi squad that got World Cup qualification. Mahrez, flick off the boot of Tony. Sorted out by Sassi. A little bit slow to join in the counter-attack with numbers quickly. Warm conditions, of course, in Jeddah, as it normally is. 28 degrees at kick-off. Certainly got a bit more heated in that first half. In particular, unhappy with some of the decisions that didn't go their way. Ghana was fouled, but good advantage played. The Chinese referee, Tony. Sano tracking his every move. Neo. He's being dragged back there by Sassi. Another free kick. Is the signal for some movement. The Ahli bench. One of those getting stripped and ready is Salah Abu Al-Shalmat. Off-season signing from Al Khalij for $2.4 million. Mahrez's free kick. Just needed a bit more elevation. Rashi fouled. More protests from Gharafa. Some of the most passionate fans in Saudi Arabia. They've made their presence felt tonight. As Rashi has done really well. He's been chopped down. It's going to be a card here for Ayub Alawi. His apologies, I think, to Rashi. Yeah, certainly caught him. He's the first player into the book from Gharafa tonight. Salah Abu Al-Shamat awaits his introduction. There's the first goal tonight, and a beauty it was too. Scored by Enzo Mio, the first of 2 assists from Scott Shalvers. There's the second, teeing up captain Frank Kessie to make it 2-0. And then Riyad Mahrez putting it on a plate for his captain to make it 3. All those 3 goals in the space of 9 first-half minutes. Here's the first change for Ahli, and it is Saleh Abu Al-Shamat for Riyad Mahrez. Gets a bit of a break ahead of that game with Al Najma on Thursday. Over the head of Demiral, here's Saleh Abu Al-Shamat with his first involvement. Made his debut for the national team in the September window against North Macedonia. Hamad to send it long, touched by Tony. Maybe a chance here for the substitute. The two defenders around him, had to readjust quickly. There's Rashi with time. Job done for Riyad Mahrez, no goal for him tonight. He did tee up an assist for Kessi's second and Al-Ahli's third. Saleh's touch damns. Telegraph that one. The one of Kessi was all to no avail. Change for Gharafa shortly too, but first another chance potentially. Saleh gets the byline. Goal kick is the verdict, much to Al-Ahli's frustration. And here's that change. It's been a pretty miserable night for Joselu. Not really had any service. So he takes his leave to be replaced by Florinel Koman. 27-year-old Romanian international. He was part of their squad at the Euros in 2024. Some comparisons to Kylian Mbappe earlier on in his career. Spent last season on loan at Cagliari in Italy. The bulk of his career was with Steaua Bucharest. Brahimi. Koman's first involvement. It was a profitable one, gets a free kick. Johnny. Shift it wide for Sano. Needs to go and give chase. Just the 3 shots all evening for Gharafa. Sort of flick again by Gonçalves. There was attempted trick, quite come off. Brahimi, Sassi. Brahimi again. It's a good little drive through midfield, and this is Fadlala. And he pick out a teammate in the end. Ryan Ahmed smashes the ball away for a corner. It was a move that had some promise, though, for the Qataris. Well defended in the end by Ahmed. It was that little burst through midfield from Yassin Brahimi that caused the problem in the first place. Al Brikin being readied for Ahli. The stretcher being called for here. Not sure it's that serious, but referee isn't in the mood to hang around. Enzo Mio, the injured party. Al Brikin, one of 3 changes. Being readied by Ahli. The others being Ziad Al-Jahani. And another of the new arrivals, Zakaria Housawi, who's on loan from Al Rad for the season. The youngsters pretty comfortable in the knowledge that their team is going to win this evening. Here's one of relatively few highlights for Al Gharafa this evening, that little burst from Brahimi. Got his goal today, Enzo Mio, to add to the 2 he got against Nassaf, who's picked up a yellow card as well. And here come a raft of changes. Court officials not happy. One of the changes has wandered onto the pitch without the board going up. So the 3 changes made. Here's the corner for Al Gharafa. Brahimi. For Al-Jani. Brahimi's looked most likely to create something. It's a lovely ball over the top. Smashed so far wide by Fadlala that it's gone out for a throw-in. Tough night at the office for Pedro Martins and his team. They missed the knockout phase last year, finished 10th in the league phase. Only continental success was the Arab Cup Winners' Cup back in 1999. It's a foul by Al Brikin, eager to get involved. Jang Hyun-soo. Sassi, and to Al Gharafa's credit, he could have easily thrown in the towel and been on the end of a real mauling here, but they've steadied the ship second half. had to keep going forwards, not really had much joy. Brahimi. Gap not quite there for Aljani. Sano's now out of position. Lifted over the top for the run of Gonçalves. He's been excellent again today. Well shepherded away though by Jang Hyun-soo. Koeman. Brahimi. Everything goes through him for Al Gharafa. Only Montari in the penalty box at the moment. Brahimi. Just trying to force his way through by sheer willpower, but that's not going to be enough against a team of this quality. Ghana's been good tonight as well. That ball through, this could be a big chance to set the seal on it. And Salah, the substitute, makes it 4 with the no-look finish. Just for a bit of extra impudence, if you don't mind. And Al Gharafa were caught completely square at the back. That's his first goal for his new club, and looks like he enjoyed it. Well, they were just caught completely unawares by that inverted run of the substitute. Little dink to take it around the goalkeeper. And then the finish with the heads pointing towards the fans. Cheeky as you like. Said he signed from Al Khalij in the off-season, but did actually spend the first 7 years of his professional career as a junior with Al Ahli, so this is a return home of sorts for him. And that goal, you fancy, has been a long time coming for him. So he was entitled to milk the moment. Gonçalves. Retrieved by Sassi. It's up, but certainly not away, off the boot of Jang Hyun-soo. Atangana takes control. Very steady presence at the base of the midfield for Al Ahli. Looks a really good acquisition. Says that N'Golo Kante is his inspiration. And you can see certain elements of his game in Atangana. Pedro Martins, I'm sure, would love the final whistle to blow now. They can get on the plane back to Doha. It's been a miserable night for Al Gharafa. By the way, staring down the barrel of a third consecutive game without troubling the score sheet. Lost both their previous matches in the Qatar Stars Cup, 3-0 to Al Salia and 1-0 at home to Al Khor. Although both those games played with much weakened 11s than are on show here tonight. So they'd love to break that little sequence, I'm sure. Mendy's had the most comfortable of evenings. I don't think they've registered a single shot on target as yet, Gharafa. See if that's about to change. Florinel Coleman marks out the run-up. Strikes it into the wall, which took much of the sting out of it. I guess that counts as a shot on target. Another change here for Ahli. Mirad Demiral is going to take his leave. And in his place is Mohamed Sulaiman, who got his first senior goal against Nassaf on matchday 1 of the Champions League Elite, just as Salah has got his first here this evening. Job done for Mirad Demiral. Bit of a job still to do for Mohamed Sulaiman. Room here for Gonçalves. Tony. If there is a negative tonight for Ahli, it's that Tony's had a very quiet game. All the goals have come from midfield. Thumped away by Seydou Sano. Jahani's throw. Koeman. Muntari. Barely sighted since coming onto the field at half-time. The throw off Ayoub Aloui. Foul on Ivan Toney. The chorus continues from the stands. A sea of green and white. Match is finishing like a bit of a training run for Ahli. That one's too far in advance. Salah Abu Al-Shamat. Fadlala, heavy touch. Tony brought to ground. Albarican wants to get on with it quickly. Rare giveaway from Gonçalves, who otherwise has been excellent tonight. Gharafa player has dropped to the turf with cramp. His teammates not of a mind to stop. Hurting badly, his Koeman. Sorted out at the end. And Salah on the move down the left for Ahli. Well read by Jang. Koeman. Sassy. Coman again. Pop up here for Yassin Brahimi. Not got much help. Actually, it does arrive from Ahli. Holgate. Jack's ball. Too short. Albarican steals it. Gonçalves looking for a hat-trick of assists. Albarican lets it run. Pushed away by Khalifa Ndiaye to keep the margin at just 4. Jahani, I think, with the shot. Now Sawi through Hamed. Ahli in full control. It looks as though it's going to be 21 AFC Champions League Elite matches without defeat. Rashi, Atangana. Albarican not even bothering to break sweat, going for that one. Perhaps a bit of a mystery why clubs from the Qatar Stars League don't do better in this competition, although Al Sadd did reach the quarter-finals last year. Jamal Hamid is the latest substitute. He's going to come on in place of Saifuldin Fadlala, who's struggling with cramp. All rather academic at the moment. I've seen Brahimi saying to his teammate, go on, get off. There's still a few minutes to play, and we want to make the scoreline more respectable. There's the 4th goal. It shows that Salah Abu Al-Shamat was clearly onside. Back heel of Jang Kyung-soo doing the damage for Al Gharafa. Confirmation of that change. Jamal Hamid for the last few minutes. And left back come left winger, who's won a handful of caps for the Palestine under-23 national team, although he was born in Spain. Is the brother of Yasser Hamid, who also plays for Al Gharafa. Here's his first involvement. Sassi, Hamid. Ball by Coman. Ali Muntari in the box. Comfortably done by Ryan Hamid. Oh, and they're given away carelessly. It's Brahimi sending his teammate a bit wider than he wanted. Aljana, he will get a corner. they can muster up something here. Rahimi's cross off the head of Al-Jahani for Ahli. Saleh to carry the ball forward, momentarily anyway. As we move into the first of 5 minutes of added time. Albarika. Chalmers was in space, if only he could have found it. He did try. Has to settle for the corner. Chalmers, Tony, and Saleh blazes away at it. Gets a bit of a spray from his teammates and immediately apologises. When you've scored one, your first goal for your new club, I guess you can get a bit greedy. Rahimi has been pleading for the whistle all night and finally he's got one. They've had a running battle, referee and Gharafa captain. There's ever going to be one winner, of course. Sano's ball out wide. And in the end, Gharafa have been well beaten here this evening. Might it have been different had Fabrizio Diaz managed to stay on the pitch? That was the crucial little period of the game. After he went off, Gharafa lost shape, lost focus, lost 3 goals. They've stemmed the bleeding second half to a large degree. The game long since gone for them, of course. Threaded ball through, here's Chalmers around the goalkeeper. Well, really his performance deserves a goal. In the end it was Jang Kyun-soo who nodded it behind for a corner. And he has been terrific. Looks to be worth every cent of the $10.5 million that Ahli paid Flamengo on the 1st of September. Done that by Housawi. And Saleh is chopped down. Frustrated Fajani Sassi. Coleman is trying to tell the referee that 4 similar fouls earlier on by the other team had gone unpunished. Maybe the last chance of the night, if Ahli have the appetite for it, that is. Al-Jahani. Al-Barikin. Underway from Majrashi. And that is that. 7 points out of 9. Not a bad way to start the defence of your title. Al-Ahli extending their unbeaten streak in this competition to 21 matches, going back to 2021. 2 losses from 3, though, for Gharafa, who's waiting for a first win over Saudi Pro League opposition. Will now stretch to 14 matches and all the way back to 2010. 2 goals for Frank Kessie, 1 for Enzo Mio, all 3 of those in the first half, and then 1 from substitute Saleh. More than enough to see off their Qatari opponents. Full time at the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium. Al-Ahli 4, Gharafa 0.
Congratulations for the winning team. Ahli AFC. النتيجة النهائية هذه المباراة النادي الأهلي 4 0. مبروك لفريق الفائز.